Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi there to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's 6 p.m. in Douala. It's time for the news in the English language. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories right away. School authorities in Cameroon have been urged to bring back moral education in their curriculum in order to limit the atrocities committed by some recalcitrant students in schools. According to a priest of the Roman Catholic Church, some parents are also to blame for the rising cases of moral decadence because many of them now focus more on their career rather than assuring that their children are impacted with right moral values. We'll be telling you more in this news edition. And also, as the delegate for youth and civic education launches the National Youth Day in the Littoral region today, calls against the consumption of hard drugs were again re-echoed in the Littoral region, especially within the school milieu. Hard drug consumption has so many drastic effects on the children nowadays. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin this edition in the Northwest region, where a 30-year-old man has committed suicide in Tamulung in the Bamenda 2 subdivision. Sources say Bertrand allegedly used a piece of zinc to cut his neck under the influence of hard drugs before the inhabitants could notice that he had already lost a lot of blood, which led to his death. For now, no member of the family could actually tell what must have forced or caused Bertrand to terminate or end his life. Kan Gabriel takes us to Bamenda.
A little piece of zinc stained with blood. This was the discovery made by inhabitants of Wakiki Junction, a quarter in Tamulun of Bamenda 2 subdivision, after the demise of 30-year-old Bertrand in their neighborhood. It showed that he must have smoked before killing himself. When you look critically, this was the position he sat before committing the act. It seems he used zinc to kill himself. After committing the act at the back of the house, he ran towards a store before finally giving up the ghost. He was alone before he committed the act, but I can't find any sign if he actually smoked or not. After cutting his neck, he started running until he died.
But if you really think now it's because I see no iota of like with the smokes on sin or now.
After the ugly incident, the family of Bertrand quickly tied him up and took the body to the village for immediate burial. The family of Bertrand says it's an abomination to them for someone to take his own life, and such can be kept for a proper burial. For now, the reason behind the suicide of Bertrand is not yet known, as he has taken the secret to the world of no return.
We stay in Bamenda this time around with Nous, who tells us that investigations have been opened by security forces after an excavator operator was killed in Bamenda. Also, Kumba Ellis, that is the name, was killed in a separatist attack and at the La Chance Bridge construction site. The bridge had collapsed. That was on July 13 this last year. And in a press release by the senior divisional officer for the MESAM, he prescribed vigilance while the fate of the bridge remains uncertain. Boostella with more from Bamenda.
Komka Elise was one of those working to maintain the La Chance Bridge, which collapsed on July 13, 2024, leaving the population stranded. Unfortunately, at about 10:30 a.m. on February 4th, life was squeezed out of him by separatist fighters who attacked the area. The debris at the La Chance Bridge was being cleared in preparation for construction. The local population is now left at a loss as the construction of the bridge that linked the commercial area of Bamenda to the small Malcolm area now remains uncertain. In a press release, the senior divisional officer for Mezam, Simon Emimo, has condemned the act while urging citizens to remain calm and collaborative in maintaining peace. He also extended his condolences to the bereaved family.
And now from Bamenda, we move down to the southwest region, precisely in the Fako division, where frequent power cuts has left inhabitants of Equinoxe, a locality not far away from Limbe, very frustrated. The complaint is that they have lost so many of their food items caused by power shortage. Let's now go to Equinoxe with Davidson Mamo.
In Cameroon, electricity outages have become a frustrating norm. Equinoxe, a town in Fako Division's West Coast subdivision of the Southwest region.
We know they get periodical light, we get a temporary light. My boys want people here, when the light go off, you suffer.
Has endured weeks of power outages, resulting in significant losses.
Yeah, wood where we make them. The flop for fridge, all don't spoil, I take them go through.
Materials for fridge, but they can't give it bill for here where the past people will pay.
Locals allege that electricity supply has been politicized, citing the rare 3-day uninterrupted power supply during the Minister of Youth Affairs visit for the 2025 National Youth Day launch.
They can't walk like that be the simple truth.
The crisis disproportionately affects students, business owners, and ordinary citizens.
We use boreholes and when I light, the help me pump the water. So as light no, then I stress over too much. We cannot read our book very well because there's no light for us to read.
I have to persevere and go to school and read in the morning, of which I will not learn anything that morning. Even mommy picking the all will sleep now inside that for breastfeed picking it very, very difficult.
The water they help me to survive my family. So as light no, they will future.
Would demand reliable and equitable electricity from the government.
We are pleading on the government to please send us light.
Just the back now because we know who is
The blame shifting between electricity agency and related services has only exacerbated the situation, intensifying frustration and scrutiny of the government's ability to deliver basic services. One thing is clear: Cameroon's electricity crisis demands urgent attention.
In other news, school authorities, we told you in the headlines in Cameroon, have been urged to bring back moral education in their curriculum in order to limit the atrocities committed by some recalcitrant students in schools recently. According to a Roman Catholic priest, Reverend Father Etienne Bakaba, some parents are also to blame for the rising cases of moral decadence because many parents nowadays focus more on their career rather than assuring that they impact their kids with the right moral values. Immaculate Fogwe has details in the following report.
The level of moral decadence in Cameroon is disturbing, and in whatever form, it distorts plans, programs, and processes of moral education. Pointing out some of these vices such as drug abuse, disrespect, insubordination, and bullying, Reverend Father Etienne Bakaba thinks educational institutions need to revive moral education.
Les jeunes quelquefois sont victimes.
Many of these youths are just victims of drug abuse. Our main focus should be the adults who are involved in the commercialization of these hard drugs. The sachet whiskey that are being sold in our quarters, are they produced by youths? No. Why are we only looking at the consequences? What about those who are directly involved in the production of these hard drugs? We need to fish them out.
Il y a des adultes qui sont derrière cette industrie qui en réalité sont les véritables.
According to the prelate, parents ought to be blamed for the increasing rate of moral decadence, given that most of them are more interested in their careers and have limited time to check on their kids. He thinks parents need to inculcate in their children moral values such as honesty, respect, truthfulness, hard work, which constitutes an important component of home training.
Mais le meilleur investissement qu'on puisse faire dans la vie, c'est l'éducation.
The best investment a parent can make for their child is training them with the right moral values. Yes, you have sent them to school, Of course, you need to work and make money, but then you shouldn't forget about your responsibility. The children didn't force you to bring them on earth. So, moral education is very essential, and schools need to work in collaboration with these parents to help bring up children with the right values.
There
is an urgent need for all stakeholders to put hands on deck in order to help groom the youth in the ways that will please the Lord. Schools are urged to embrace moral education as a way of mitigating the rising trend of moral decadence.
For real, hard drug consumption has so many drastic negative consequences on our children, such as teenage or early pregnancies. There are some of the social ills happening in the school milieu and which actually affects the capacity of the young people. And in a way of fighting against these social ills, the regional delegate for secondary education organized a sensitization workshop in which students, parents and guardian counselors were briefed on how these ills can be brought to a stop in schools. Cedric Chakutio has more.
Violences, drug use, teenage pregnancy, and juvenile delinquency are some of the many social ills that undermine Cameroonians' youth. According to some experts, young people are more exposed to these ills due to the socio-economic environment characterized by incivility that consecrates the loss of values.
Nous avons les violences entre élèves ou violences élèves-élèves. Nous avons les violences élèves-enseignants. Ces violences sont multiples, les violences verbales, les violences psychologiques, les violences physiques.
An alarming situation which to the regional delegate of secondary education is to be eradicated. Thus, a sensitization workshop between teachers, guidance counselors and students was organized by members of the task force under the supervision of the regional delegate of secondary education to fight against these social ills in school milieu.
Vous avez tout dit, on devrait être inquiet et c'est le sens de ces ateliers que nous organisons. Madame le délégué régional m'a fait l'honneur d'accompagner ces experts. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes ici pour boucler justement ce tour régional aux côtés de ces experts qui sont en train de renforcer les capacités, parce que les capacités sont déjà là, de ces task force qui ont été formées, afin que l'on puisse avoir à chaque fois une réponse à ces fléaux sociaux qui sont en constante émergence.
A workshop well appreciated by students who are mostly affected by these ills.
Cet atelier, j'ai retenu que nous devons aller près des élèves, causer avec eux, les sensibiliser sur les grossesses précoces et les aider pour ne pas être stigmatisés et pour qu'ils n'aient pas peur.
During the exchange, the school health inspector at the Ministry of Secondary Education in Littoral, Dr. Walters, recommended, among other things, the establishment of parent-child dialogue on sexuality so that the child is given confidence.
No, our parents see it as a taboo to educate our young girls of their health, of their body, of the consequences of doing whatever they're doing with their body. So if we are soliciting the parents to sensitize their children to understand that if you're a woman, you have to understand your menstrual cycle, you have to know that your body, you don't have to do certain things, have sexual intercourse, which is very untimely and it can lead to pregnancies.
These youth were thus informed about the consequences of various social ills and the behaviors to adopt, avoid, or even eradicate them.
Now let's talk something else. A combined effort and support from humanitarian organizations such as the UN, the EU and other international entities are required to build the Lake Chad Basin, address the impacted or affected by terrorist attacks, climate change, communal and socio-professional conflicts. This was a major resolution of the 5th edition of the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum that ended recently in Nigeria, attended by a Cameroonian delegation headed by the Far North Governor Minti Yawa Bakari. Innocent Azet tells us more in this report.
The 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum in Maiduguri, Borno State, Nigeria, with focus on regional development and stability, concludes with some outcomes.
The Cameroon, the Niger, the Nigeria, the Chad, and the Benin.
The forum issued a communique highlighting the region's progress, challenges, and commitment in the struggle to rebuild the Lake Chad Basin. Participants pledged to to collaborate to achieve peace and stability in the region. They as well committed to tackling Lake Chad's challenges.
Renforcer la protection des populations civiles.
Mijiawa Bakari, governor of the Far North region of Cameroon, who attended the forum accompanied by a delegation, disclosed some future projects of the Forum of Governors of the Lake Chad Basin.
Des projets ou des perspectives.
The hot climatic condition and climate change in a nutshell, he says, greatly affects Cameroon's Far North region, Chad, and the Borno states in Nigeria. Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria are also confronted by socio-professional conflicts and intercommunal conflicts related to land disputes. Water, he says, has dried up in the Lake Chad Basin at about 90%, posing a big problem to be addressed.
Tout ceci pose également un problème.
The Far North Regional Governor also stated the problem of drug consumption and high birth rates amid poverty.
La consommation de la drogue.
Drug consumption in the sub-region is alarming. The frontiers have become porous for infiltration of drugs, which get in school establishments and quarters. High birth rates are common in the Far North region, Borno State and Chad. When these children grow without guidance, at the age of 10, 11 and 12, they end up joining terrorist groups and return to attack their own parents, brothers and sisters.
À l'âge de 10 ans, 11 ans, c'est deviendront des enfants de la guerre.
These are problems preoccupying the governors who say lack a budget to address them, but hope local and international partners will assist them attain their objective of rebuilding the Lake Chad Basin.
And now, ahead of the presidential election in Cameroon, just to let you know that Professor Maurice Kamto, who is a president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, has said he is not in any way connected to calls for genocide or hate in Cameroon, and he issued a statement to that effect that was a while ago, and Babila Jonathan will be telling us more. That would be in a subsequent news edition. Now, let's get to know what is making news at the international scene with Mala Glory.
Rebel group, which recently took control of Goma. Authorities accuse him of human rights abuses, including the torture of a school director, amid ongoing clashes between the Congolese army and M23. This move highlights the country's effort to hold key figures accountable in its long-running conflict. No response has been issued by Nanga or his representatives. And elsewhere, 3 weeks into Donald Trump's second presidency of the United States, the global aid sector is in disarray as Washington reviews foreign aid policy to ensure it aligns with America First agenda. Funds have been frozen while the U.S. aid agency is being dismantled. Malawi is one of the numerous countries hard hit by Trump's decision to slash foreign aid when he took power in January. The United States is the world's largest donor, contributing 60 billion euro in 2023, an amount which represents around 1% of its federal budget. Trump ordered all foreign assistance to be halted for 90 days while being reviewed to ensure they align with his America First agenda.
Thank you, Mala Glory. That report brings us to the end of this edition of the news. For some reasons beyond our control, viewers, we sincerely apologize. We wouldn't be having talking points tonight. Thank you, nonetheless, for always being with us. Thank you for your confidence. Our programs continue. Equinoxe would be yours at 7 p.m. with Soya Langutu, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth Bisai. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television and see you again tomorrow. God willing, bye-bye for now.